Hi, Aaron. Thanks for doing this. During the rehabilitation since the injury, what were the toughest moments for you physically and mentally to get past? And how close are you to being at 100% game shape?
I think the hardest part for me was probably the first week. Just kind of wrapping my head around it, not really being injured before in that manner, and there's a lot of what ifs and uncertainty of what's to come, and people are telling you timelines, and it's gonna feel like this, and it's gonna look like this, and this is what your next couple months are gonna look like, and it's just a weird thing to try to plan out something that I'm not familiar with, and obviously there's a lot of sadness in those moments and stuff too. So probably that first week, but I think after that it was a different mindset, and you kind of got to wrap your mind around what you want to do and what you want to become, and you kind of just got to snap out of that. And after that, it was smooth sailing, luckily. I think, second part of that question, how close am I to 100% fitness? Yeah, I feel great. I mean, I'm not even 8 months out yet, but I feel really good. I'm training full. We had a scrimmage today. I got my minutes in the 11v11 scrimmage against Phoenix, Arizona today. So I'm feeling really good. Just got to keep getting fit and hopefully I got 3 more weeks until the qualifier, so I think I should be good to go.
Next would be Sam Stainscoe from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Aaron, thanks for taking the time. Hope you're doing well. I have a question that kind of dates back a couple of years to the last times that you personally played against Canada in the Nations League in October and November of 2019. I'm curious in particular what you remember from that game in October up in Toronto that you guys lost, and how you think things kind of changed for the team, if you think things kind of changed for the team, both in how Greg kind of approached things and maybe what he was telling you guys to do tactically, and maybe how the mindset changed for the group itself after that.
Yeah, that is quite a while ago. I think I remember. I'm not positive about this, but I think that was one of our first under Greg's regime and with this new group. I think that was one of our first away games, and it was a different environment, and it was something that we weren't quite used to, and we got caught off guard, and it was a tough moment for us, but it was a moment that we needed to go through. We were eventually going to go away and lose somewhere, and it was one of those moments when we got back in the locker room, like, guys, this is going to happen. It's not always going to be easy. There's going to be tough moments. It's all about how we respond. And then that game in Orlando, I remember I scored, Jordan scored. We went up a couple of goals pretty early on. But the mindset going into that game was almost do or die. It was like I think it was win and we can keep going on. So it was like full speed ahead going into that game. That's kind of what I remember.
Next will be Charles Bone from MLS Soccer.
Aaron, thanks for your time today. I wanted to follow up on Ron's question. You had a long road to get to MLS and to get to the national team. I think a lot of us have told your story. And I was wondering if you could talk about the challenge of this injury, not only physical but psychological, where that ranks compared to that road kind of to prominence, and what the other challenges you've gone through, in your career to get where you are. And then also maybe what was Greg Berhalter and the national team staff support like during all that?
Yeah, I guess I could start with that. The support from the national team was great. I mean, Greg was one of the first guys I talked to after the injury. I called him right away, and it was a good conversation. He's like, listen, we're with you, man. We'll support you in any way we can. We'll stay in touch, and he kept true to that promise, and so did all the guys here from the medical staff and the training staff. Everyone checked in on me, and I've been in the last 2 camps when I wasn't fully fit, just for them to get their eyes on me and help me with the rehab and progress me in ways that maybe we weren't doing. And I feel like I'm here today in such good shape and not even at 8 months out because of them. So, I can kind of tip my hat to them and say thank you for that. What was the first part of your question? I'm sorry.
I was wondering if you could compare it to the previous challenges that you've faced and overcome in your career to this point.
Yeah, it's different. I would say easier for me. I think, the first time you hit those adversity and you hit those bumps, you don't really know how to respond and how to react. But like you said, I've been through the long road, and I've hit a lot of these bumps already, so it was just another one, and it took that first week to kind of wrap my head around it, but after that it was just a mentality of powering through and kind of how I respond to these moments, and not, looking back and looking at my leg and sitting on the couch and kind of feeling sorry for myself. So it wasn't the hardest thing I've dealt with, I would say.
Next will be Jim Alexander.
Aaron, good to talk to you again. Couple questions. I'm curious where you did the bulk of your rehab. Did you come back here to California, or did you do it in New York or someplace else? And the other thing that I'm curious about is, was there a point this summer where you could see that light at the end of the tunnel, where you could see yourself being back in this position by December and January?
I don't know when I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, but my projections for myself early on were that I wanted to be in the camp in November, and I wanted to be in the camp in December, and I wanted to be in this January camp full fitness and training full and playing in the games and give myself a chance for these qualifiers. So again, I don't know if I ever saw the light at the tunnel, but that's what I was working for, and it's been on that progression so far. So I've been very lucky and fortunate that my body's stayed healthy up to now, and things are rolling the way that they did. What was the first part of that question? I'm sorry.
Where you did your training in rehab?
Yeah, bulk of the training, especially in the beginning when you're not moving around too much. I did an HSS hospital in Manhattan. Once I got a little bit farther along, New York Red Bull sent me to Austria to a Red Bull rehab center. And I did, I think, 2-3 weeks there in Austria. Then I came back to New York for a little bit. Then I went back to Austria again for another 2 weeks. Then I came to the national team. So I think between Manhattan, Austria, and here with the national team.
Next will be Brian Sciaretta from American Soccer Now.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Aaron, for doing this. Hope you're feeling well. Just 2 questions while you were away. What was it like monitoring the U.S. team? The difficulties of not being on the field, but what have you seen from the team while you were away? They obviously won some silverware. And also speak to a little bit about the central defense. You're going to be. How is the competition you think that you're emerging into now? Once you feel 100%, it seems like it's changed quite a bit with Miles and Chris Richards both making statements. Discuss the challenge you feel that you see ahead of yourself when you're at 100% to break into that group. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moments when you're watching the team, right? There's happy moments when the team is winning, and you're also sad that you're not there and a part of it. But yeah, I mean, watching the team win those trophies was a huge kind of relief for me as well. That's something that we've been working for and we set our sights on. So to have the team win that stuff and to win both back-to-back like that, it was amazing to watch. I just wish I could be there with them in those moments. It's amazing when the team wins. It's tough when they lose. I still feel like I'm out there almost. What was the second part of that question for me? Sorry, Cameron, can you give me that?
Hang on a sec. I'll let him ask himself.
I was just saying how you see the central defense depth chart changing as you've been away with a couple of other players emerging, and how tough you think it's going to be to back into that group when you're at 100%. The challenges that you see. Yeah,
there's a lot of guys right now that are playing really well. I think Greg is very fortunate to have the group that he has in terms of the central defenders. There's 5-6 guys now that are all putting up a good case. So it's just how do I show my best self and give my best self to the team in whatever way that the team needs me and whatever Greg asks of me. So that's all I can really do.
Next will be Emily Olson from USA Today.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Aaron. I wanted to build off that a little bit. You talked about the benefits the national team provided in your physical rehab, but this is a big player pool. I'm curious what you were able to gain from being inside those camps where you weren't necessarily fully contributing or fit, ready to contribute, but from how this specific group is working as they go through qualifiers. What have you been able to gain from those camps you were a part of?
Yeah, it's nice to not only do the rehab and see guys here that have specialties and maybe they're picking up on things that other people aren't, and kind of just using that collective group of a mindset to, what does Aaron need? What's going to take him the farthest in the next week or two? So from the rehab standpoint, that's really good, but also just to get around the guys again. You know, I've been away for, I think, 6 months at that point, 6, 7 months. So to get around the guys again, get back with the group, get into the feel of these camps where there is qualifiers, and be at the game where we're playing Mexico at home, those are special moments and special camps. It's nice when you're out for so long to feel that vibe and be in the locker room again and be in those moments. It's good for me personally. It's good for me to be with the group in those moments. And yeah, I'm fortunate that I was able to be there. And there's a lot of things I can take from those camps that aren't just rehab, like you're saying. It's the experience, and the only way you can really experience it is if you're there. So.
Last two questions for Aaron come from Ivis Galarcep.
Actually, I only have one because a few of my questions were asked already. Plus, I don't want to test Aaron too much. But good to see you.
Thank God. I can only answer one at a time.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm keep it to one. You obviously were with the team at the beginning. 1 year ago now, you saw a lot of these young players come in. You saw the young squad kind of coming together. And now you return to the team now that it's kind of gone through so many things and grown up. How have you kind of seen this group mature when you watch it now, when you got to be around it in November? Could you tell how much this group has grown and how much these players are more confident, more just mature? Like, did you see that? Do you see that like kind of drastic change from say March to now?
I wouldn't say drastic, but yeah, there's a change, definitely. There's more confidence. Like you said, in the beginning, we're all learning the style of play. We're all learning this is what we want to do, and this is how we're going to implement it. But you still have to go out there and do it. And you still have to go out there and prove that you can do it. And I think after the team wins in Gold Cup and wins in Nations League, there's a different confidence about the group. And it's not like this is how we want to play. This is how we're going to play. And I think those moments and those tournaments and that success always breeds a different confidence within the group. So yeah, I can feel it, and I can see the difference, definitely.